Yo, I'm Will Blackmon, and this is Upsets Underdogs Presented by WynnBET. On today's Underdog episode, we'll break down the teams we think are being undervalued and overlooked as we head into Wildcard Weekend. The Raiders are visiting Cincinnati after an emotional win to clinch the playoffs. The Niners are traveling to Dallas in the classic playoff matchup. The Steelers take on the Chiefs in what could be Big Ben's last stand. And we have a great guest joining us in a couple minutes. We have NFL Network's Colleen Wolfe. So stick around. I had to add the wolf to that, indeed. This show is brought to you by WynnBET. Wildcard Weekend is coming in hot, and there's no better time than getting on the action. Download the WynnBET app right now and start winning today. WynnBET offers a ton of unique markets. Plus, new users can take advantage of WynnBET's bet $1 win $100 offer. If you bet just $1, you can win a free $100 bet on almost any sport: NFL, NBA, NHL, UFC, boxing, and more. And they're also offering a 200% wager matchup up to $1,500. For all the details on these offers, download the WynnBET app now and set the odds in your favor. Offer is subject to change. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where WynnBET is available to you. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. We're going to start the show off by bringing in Coach Nick Deus. As he's rocking all of his Giants gear in celebration. And celebration being Joe. I never celebrate someone getting fired. You'll never catch me on TV calling for someone's job. But that 3rd and 9 QB sneak that was it right there. That's how you end your coaching career or tenure, whatever, at some place. So talk to me. Why'd you feel like you had to get all this gear?
Listen, man, you're a classy individual. You like wine. You're the wine MVP. I'm a beer guy. You don't celebrate people getting fired.
Wait. Before I understand that's my business, but I was born and raised in Green Bay, okay? That I was drafted there, and so I bathe in Guinness. But go ahead.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm more of a beer guy. Wine is not my style. You won't celebrate people losing their jobs, but for me, this is a celebration. The Giants fans bullied the organization to get rid of the head coach. I mean, I'm on cloud 9 right now, Will.
So before we bring in our awesome guest, who do you like for GM and head coach?
GM, I want someone from the Colts or the Chiefs.
Okay.
Steal someone from those organizations.
Like
Even the Ravens,
like Ed Dodds or Ryan Poles.
Give me someone from that umbrella of the organization. And then head coach, I wouldn't mind Brian Flores.
See, I like Brian Flores because the Mara family, they're big on like Boston College people, right? When they won the Super Bowl, they had Coach Coughlin, Chris Nee, and Matthias Kiwinuka on the team. When they won 2011, they had Coach Coughlin, Matthias Kiwinuka, and Chris Nee, and yours truly was on the team. Brian Flores went to Boston College. Ryan Poles, who's in Kansas City, he went to Boston College. I actually played with both of those guys at Boston College. Match made in heaven. All right, let's move on from the Giants. All right, it's time for Wynn Will Blackmon's Money. First, let's welcome Theo Ash of the Stay Hot podcast back to the show. Theo, what is good? I thought you had a onesie on. It's not a onesie. It's a jacket.
It's a Minnesota North Stars jacket.
Very nice. By the way, how'd you do it in the fantasy league? I got smoked.
Oh, I played in the losers game. I thought I had it all figured out. Like I said, I think I talked about this. I traded for Dalvin Cook. I traded for A.J. Brown at the end of the season. I'm like, we are good to go. Then they both got hurt. I had Alvin Kamara who got hurt. And I thought this all-star team was so good, and I ended up playing in the losers game. But I won it. I didn't lose the league. I won the losers game and played and lost.
Yeah, I think once I hit like 6 losses, I kind of just like gave up. But the 2 times I actually did pay attention, I was playing against Gabby, and I destroyed her both times.
Yes, sir.
Which is all good. Okay, so then again, how are you doing? Welcome back. And I want to talk about you had a pretty cool 3-team parlay this week. You put down $25. Talk me through this parlay, please.
Well, much like Stetson Bennett on the finale of the season, I came through and I won big. And you're lucky I'm on here coherently talking to you guys after that win.
Well, you had a couple days to recover, so
I did have a couple days to recover. You're right. But yeah, I what was the bet? It was the Jaguars covering was one of the big things, and they were getting 14.5 points against the Colts. And what was the stat? The Colts haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014 or something. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, well, that's a lot of points, and for a team that struggles there. So I took that. I believe I did the over in the Cardinals versus game. Seahawks game. Yep. Yeah,
which was 40.5.
Yeah, it seemed like the Seahawks were starting to get their groove back a little bit. They beat the Lions. I think they put up 51 in that game. So it seemed like the Seahawks were getting some momentum and getting back to the team I kind of thought they'd be the whole year. And the Cardinals, they were playing for something, a playoff spot. So I felt like both teams were going to come out. The Seahawks were going to try and end the season on a high note, and then the Cardinals were going to try and improve their playoff spot. So I expected fireworks, and that's what we got in the over hit. And then what was the last bet?
You took the money line, Washington beating New York.
Oh, right, because Rivera, like Joe Judge was talking about Washington, mm-hmm. and then Rivera just kind of seemed locked in and is like, yeah, come here and fight. And the Giants, I mean, they suck. They suck at, like,
what
they're
up,
horrible.
Nick?
So yeah, sorry. They were. They're better now because Joe Judge is gone. But
they're better now. But that was nuts.
They're better now.
It's like at least be like good if you're gonna make fun of Washington. First of all, like I want to talk about that real quick. Joe Judge isn't even invested in Giants history long enough to even talk bad about Washington. Like I'm sure the Tish and Mara fan were like, dude, be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
You just got here.
You just got here, bro. You have nothing invested in anything that has to do with New York Giants other than a hat. Okay? So, first, let's go back. Yeah. Okay, I'm done talking about Joe Judge. He's gone. So, all of these hit. You won $122. Nice work. I already gave my thoughts. Nick, what was your thoughts on all these, this whole parlay that he laid down?
Well, I don't want to confuse Theo with this outfit that I got on right now. It's not because I'm proud to be a Giants fan. It's been a lot of rocky years, but it's more so it's new beginnings. So I'm celebrating the new beginnings. One of the biggest bets that I made this weekend, fellas, was Washington with the spread. The Giants have just been flat and horrible the last month and a half. So money line, you took the safe route. I get it, but I felt like the spread was so strong. Love the Jaguars call. I'm a fan almost by default. Double digit home underdogs in division. I almost always take that. And Will, we were talking about that earlier this week, how these lines going into the playoff implications are always overinflated.
Right.
Because everybody is coming in. Oh, the Colts are not going to lose this game. They're going to blow them out. They got to make the playoffs. Not so fast. 16-26 against the spread are these teams with the playoff implications. Seattle and the Cardinals, nice call there. I wouldn't have gone there, but you're right, Theo, about the Seahawks got their groove back. And in a game where the Cardinals had to keep up in order to also win the division, if they would have won that game, I like that call. A pretty solid bet.
Yeah, and I feel like go ahead, Theo.
I felt really good when I placed it, and it was one that I thought was going to hit. Like very, very confident in that one when I placed it. It seemed solid week 18. I don't know why. Like with all this finales happening, things seem to be more clear. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's like the happy medium. I feel like every time these two teams plays, it's like between like 45 and 55 points. Like that's kind of like the hot spot. So you were not wrong in terms of doing that. So I think that's pretty cool. So, Theo, this is our last installment of the segment. So let's check out how you ended up. So total I love what we call it Blackmon Bucs. Total Blackmon Bucs lost $495. That is a lot of money. Your total winning bet cost is $285. So your total winnings right now stand at $707. Theo, is there anything you learned or taken away from this experience?
Oh, for sure. I learned a lot about, I think, NBA betting, and now I look at like the back-to-back and when they played last and the matchups there. I think the NBA betting, and I hit a bet yesterday on the NBA as well with the under in Suns Raptors and the Thunder covering the spread. And it took me a while to hit any NBA bets. So like that's where I think I actually legitimately really was helped there. And yeah, the nuggets about the home underdogs, getting double digit points, stuff like that. So for sure, I think I'm a lot better now than when I started. So
Well,
shout out you guys for that.
Yeah, I think since you ended off on a hot note, for NBA, we might have to bring this back for some basketball. That would be super dope. So, any last words, Lamb? Any last words of advice? Like this is you have your coaching, your head coaching paraphernalia on. So
I got my spreadsheet. I got to cover the mouth so that the camera don't see me.
That's what's so funny. Theo, it's like coaches, like they have a mask on. They're still covering their mouths. It's just habit.
It's habit, yeah. Yo, Theo, I'll tell you one thing, man. New York, with sports betting, a lot of my friends were just hitting me up with the most outrageous bets ever. And it's like, dude, you don't even watch soccer. Like, what are you doing? Stop reading these threads on Twitter. So basically, man, like I told you before, it's such a simple take that I'm going to give you. Just stick to the sports that you know. Like if you start betting like women's tennis out of nowhere, it's gonna be like, Theo, we might need you to call that number that Will always talks about on the show, 1-800-GAMBLER. But for the most part, man, I think just stick to what you know. And I know it sounds so cliche and basic, but it goes a long way.
It does. As tempting as those it's 12:30 a.m. It's past midnight, and the only thing on is the Zablosky playing ping pong in Ukraine. As tempting as that is sometimes, don't take it.
You know what though? I would say feel free to flirt with UFC, especially heavyweights.
Okay.
Because someone can get knocked out any given day. So, Theo, best of luck with your future betting. You have us for life. So, see you around. Do not be a stranger. And you got Packers colors on, right? Go Pack. All right, I'm excited to welcome to the show NFL Network's Colleen Wolfe. What is the deal? Finally, we get to do something together. Something. I'm excited.
We have been trying to do this since the season started.
Well,
it's been a minute, but finally we're here, and I'm so excited about this.
No, it's really cool, like watching your career because you're one of the few who are hard to keep track of because you're everywhere. It's like you are all over the place. Kay's like all over the place, like just just everywhere. So
got to keep sprinting. Got to keep.
No,
running.
you got to
just keep. I don't turn around. I don't look back. I'm not stopping.
The more you can do. So you're headed to Tampa this weekend, right?
I'm going to Tampa.
Talk to us about that.
I'm leaving on Friday, and I was looking at the weather. I'm like, damn, it's not even going to be nice. Like, it's going to be raining and windy, but whatever. It's fine. I guess it's better than going to Buffalo, which is going to be like below zero wind chills and probably snow because when doesn't it snow in Buffalo?
But the Tampa rain is nuts.
I know. But it's fine because the Eagles and the Bucs are playing, so it's a good game. It'll be a fun one. I'll probably see some of my family members there. Who knows what's going to happen?
Actually, no, that is perfect for you because, right, you're going to Florida and it's the Eagles. So
Exactly.
Okay, so.
And I get to do my Saturday show there, Good Morning Football Weekend.
Oh, perfect.
And my buddy Mike Garafolo, who also works for the network. Philly guy. So me and Jeezy are going to be both at the game. We'll do the Saturday show there. So it's going to be a nice little weekend, Will.
Mike G is probably the main reason why I am in media. And
really?
Oh, yeah, because when I was playing for New York, he was a beat writer, and for the Giants. And he and I,
Star Ledger, that's right.
Yeah, he and I became like super tight. And I remember when I was towards the end of my career, he contacted I think it was Jacob Oldman at Fox and was like, hey, you need to like give Will an audition. And then I remember I did the audition. It was me, Peter Schrager, and it was Jenny Taft. And and that's kind of what pretty much got it going. So Mike G and I are still super tight.
So did he get a cut? Like, did you give him?
Absolutely not.
Give him a commission
He doesn't
on
get
that?
a cut. He gets a lot of hidden notes for me.
Oh,
yeah, I'm a ghostwriter for Mike. No one knows that till now. So
you're sliding into his DMs? Like, do you have a Finsta?
No,
what does this mean?
direct text, not direct message, direct text. My DTs.
Got it.
All right, so Colleen, this show is called Upsets and Underdogs. So I like to ask all of our guests this question. What was the moment in your career where you felt most like an underdog and you like overcame it?
I think being from Philadelphia. So when I came out of the womb was probably the biggest underdog moment. And then it was all kind of uphill from there. But no, I think there were so many moments in this journey because I didn't even plan on going into media or anything. I was going to be an art teacher. Like this was kind of something that, yeah, thank God I didn't do that. I was like set on a totally different path. And then I did an internship at a sports talk radio station with a bunch of knuckleheads that were so funny. And that was it. I was like, oh, cool. This is a job that I can do. Awesome. So I kind of took this really circuitous route to kind of get here. And there were so many moments where I just fell flat on my face. I was, at one point, I was auditioning for an in-arena host job with the Philadelphia Flyers. It was this competition, and it came down to me and one other person. And the final test that we had to do was interview a player or do some type of like in-game update. And it was during the preseason, but of course, Philly fans are crazy. And so they go to everything all the time. So it's a packed arena. And I had never worn an IFB before. And I had never like had to talk while having someone else talk to me and listen. And so you really have to compartmentalize
that is a skill
when that happens. And I didn't know that they were going to start talking to me in the middle of it. And so I start talking and I was so nervous that I couldn't pronounce the very basic name of Danny Briere. And there are so many other names that are way more difficult to pronounce
you just
in hockey.
Securitas,
Branko Radovojevic, like any of those. And so I got booed off the Jumbotron. And my parents were there. And my friends from college. And everyone was there rooting me on. And actually what happened was I got booed out of there. So I remember thinking like, well, I'm going to have to go into witness protection now. Like, what do I do? Well, I have to leave. I have to move. I can't ever see anyone again. But it was fine. And I picked myself up and just kept it pushing. And here we are. I mean, that's one of like 1,000 different stories like that.
No, but that's a big one. It was early. You got booed. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. By an entire arena. Like, it was so bad that they had took me off, like they had to stop the hit completely. So I kept like, I was so nervous and my heart was beating so fast. And the more I tried to pronounce Danny Briere, the more I messed it up. And I was like, Danny Briere, it was a mess. It was a train
you
wreck.
went from Briere to Securitas. So, hey, congrats. You just moving all. Well, that, you know what though? Welcome to Philly. That's just what it is. What it is.
Honestly, it was the best training ground I could have ever asked for, because anywhere that I went after that was infinitely easier. And I was like, oh my God, everyone's so nice around here.
No, you know what though, and that says so much, because before you came on the show, I'm like, there is a super small percentage who like in terms of just not just like women, but just analysts in general in the media who have the callous or the thick skin to handle, who embraces all that drama. And you know, the first thing that always comes to mind is like Joy Taylor embraces like, let's go, you swing, I'm a duck, and I'm gonna knock you right back out. And she never goes back and is like, you know, I'm getting yelled at here, I'm complaining about this. I'm like, it is what it is. And you're definitely your last name was Wolf for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know, I got married. I didn't change it. I was like, nah, this name's got to stay. Like
that too. Even that too. Like I didn't change it. Like that's a beast. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the NFL. I said the football. Let's talk about the NFL. It's time for top dogs. Okay. So we're going to highlight the underdogs of Wildcard Weekend that we feel are most undervalued and have the best chance to win you some cash. So game one, Raiders at the Bengals. Bengals are -5 favorite. Ticket and money counts. 59% of the tickets are coming in on the Bengals. 80% of the money are coming in on the Raiders. Nick, is that because everyone's still riding high from the game? Is that why?
That will, and also we've seen the Raiders deliver countless times as big underdogs on the road, right? They won in Pittsburgh. They won on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys as well as big underdogs. So I think this team is just so battle tested. That's why professional bettors are backing the Raiders right now.
By the way, sorry, Colleen. This is my wizard. This is my gambling wizard. Okay, he's like my oracle that I
see him decked out in Giants
climb.
here.
This is Coach Nick today, by the way. So I'm Leonidas, like climbing the mountain, and I have to go over and speak to him to get my gambling insight. So this is
Nick.
Is
good because guys, I don't know. You're gonna have to really hold my hand here through this because gambling is what is gambling? First
How about
of all,
this?
I think
that's why
he's
he's here.
A great analyst to come on the show.
That's why he's here. I just talk ball, and he does all the gambling. So.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So this is a rematch earlier from this year. Joe Mixon went off as the Bengals beat down the Raiders. Mixon ran for 123 and 2 TDs. So yeah, and Joe Burrow and Derek Carr finally get into their first playoff game. Finally for Derek Carr. So, Colleen, I want to ask you, like, how are you feeling about this game overall? It's kind of like unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen on either side, you know. So, talk to me about this game. What's interesting to you?
Honestly, this game is the most interesting on the slate here. And I've gone back and forth because I have a competition with my friends on the Saturday show. We have a game picks competition. And we're all the most competitive people in the world. And there's no prize, but I must win. And D'Angelo Hall is crushing me. He's crushing all of us. He's really good at
which
picking
is bad
games.
because if he's winning, you're not going to hear the end of it. He drives me nuts.
Oh, I know. And he's already won back-to-back picks championship trophies. So this is a problem. And I keep going back and forth specifically on this game. I've talked myself into the Raiders. I've talked myself into the Bengals. And I think that the Raiders, their defense has been really good over these last 4 games. I think they're only allowing like 19 points per game, and their offense has been more balanced. I love the way that they're running the ball in these last 3. Derek Carr's come up with some really clutch plays, and they're really frisky in the fourth quarter. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen with this team, and they can pull out some like really outrageous plays. But then you have Joe Burrow on the other side with these skill position players that have just been lights out. Like T. Higgins out of nowhere, he's emerged as a playmaker.
Right.
Jamar Chase has been great all year long. And then you have Joe Mixon against a Raiders run defense that is not that great. They can be exposed. So he's coming off the COVID list, Joe Mixon. And I think that right now I'm feeling the Bengals side of things. They're going to be in Cincinnati. Like, they're really feeling themselves. Joe Burrow's like cool, calm, and collected all the time. The bright lights never bother him. So if it's Derek Carr in his first playoff game and Joe Burrow in his first playoff game, and I'm just basing it off of those 2 quarterbacks, I would 1,000% go Joe Burrow. Plus, he's been really good under pressure.
He's been outstanding under pressure for a long time. Yeah, these are 2 teams I feel like they go as their quarterback goes. Like, it's truly based on that. So you're going to hear it all week from everybody. Like, it's the playoffs, you know, it is different now. You know, it's the hits are harder, the players are faster. It's a new season, and it really is. But I just feel like the Raiders make me nervous in terms of like them being successful because they're such a tight group. They dealt with probably the most drama this year as a team, and they were still able to get it done and get in the playoff. They're such a tight group, so that's what makes me like, you know, let's go on the road. Let's go ahead. Let's go on the road and get this done. And they remind me of my 2011 team with the Giants and San Fran as well too. Like, hey, let's go on the road and get this done. So I am super nervous. Nick, please talk to me about the insights before we make our picks.
So I think one thing that definitely needs to be mentioned, Will, is the scheduling spot for the Raiders. I'm not a fan of it. So they play Sunday Night Football, goes into overtime. Colleen talked about the defense. They played 88 snaps against the Chargers. Comes down to 2-3 seconds left. Now they got to travel short week. They play the first game in the playoffs at 4:30 in Cincinnati. Bengals pretty much benched all their starters that mattered. I mean, even Samaje Perine didn't play, and he's a backup running back. Everyone thought he was going to play. Jamar Chase played 2 drives to break the record. Then they pulled him. And I think this is a terrible spot. I will mention also, you talked about the adversity. If any team is built to take on this spot, it would be the Raiders.
Right. Yeah, and not to mention like so many plays, but that long ass drive at the end, 19 plays, which took, even though the clock said 2 minutes, it probably took a whole hour because I was at my mother-in-law's house having dinner, watching that drive. We drove back home, which was another 20 minutes, and still finished watching that drive at home. So,
oh my God.
I know, right? The drive is still going on because I'm like, another fourth down. So, Mrs. Wolfe, or Miss Wolfe, I should say, who do you like in this game?
You know, Nick kind of swayed me on that because you make such a good point about the defense playing so many snaps. And I think back to the TNF game with the Ravens and the Dolphins this year. And the Ravens were coming off, I think that was an overtime game where they just played so many snaps and the Dolphins just like took that game no problem. And that was like that was one of our main things that we focused on in that game. And that could really swing things. So it swung things enough for me to take Cincinnati.
How about that? So, man, I don't even know. Nick, go ahead, because I need. It's like ordering at the restaurant, right? Like you go ahead. You know, let me look at the menu longer.
I know this one is so hard to call.
Nick, go ahead.
It is hard to call, but I'm on the Bengals also. The Bengals, I think right now with Joe Burrow, well, check these stats out, right? This is from Paul Hembo. In games in which his team needed to have it to advance,
right?
4 games in college, 2 games in the NFL, 6-0 record, 27 touchdowns, no interceptions. The coolest quarterback going into the playoffs.
No, and he is because that's why I said on the show before that he has that he has the Tom Brady energy. You know, where it's just he's not fazed by anything, and he builds everybody else up on the team. So it's so funny. I came into this thinking like I got the Raiders, but I'm gonna go Bengals. What the -5?
Clean sweep.
Look at that. I never do
like
that.
it.
All right,
like it.
Game number 2. This is also a gnarly game. 49ers are going to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. The Cowboys are favorite, -3. So pros and Joes are on the same side, right? 55% of the tickets and 75% of the money are coming in on the 49ers. And I think because once they got in, everyone in the world was like, this is the most dangerous team, the 49ers. And plus, I think as much as people like the Cowboys, no one trusts the Cowboys. And that is the problem. They're like the boyfriend with a lot of money. You know, that's what you know, buy you everything, take you to the coolest places, you know, woo you everywhere, but you know, they're dating like 4 other people. So it's like that's the like I don't, you know, it's like it's a good time, it's fun, but like damn, I don't trust that dude. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. But I will say this: when the Cowboys are playing at their best, they are the most explosive team on the planet. But I still question Dallas's toughness. And that's what makes me nervous about this game because, I mean, you find me a tougher team than San Fran in terms of what they can do. And also San Fran, they still have a lot of players, most importantly their quarterback, who played in the Super Bowl a few years ago. And so that's what makes it super interesting. And yes, I'm so excited for this matchup because this is a classic 1990s playoff matchup. 49ers Cowboys. You're going to see it all week. You know, this game on Fox. This game better be on Fox. I'll be livid.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Rivalry renewed.
Exactly.
That's the whole thing.
So, Colleen, talk to me about this game. What are your thoughts?
Well, with this game, I think that, you know, I'm looking at the fact that the 49ers, I love Kyle Shanahan's run-heavy offense. That's when they really shine. It's always been his thing. It's whenever they're able to run the ball. I mean, look back at when that year that they were in the Super Bowl and Jimmy G, I mean, like he had like 0. How many pass attempts that he had? It felt like 0. It felt like negative pass attempts in that game. But now you have guys like Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel, who they can use in the running game. And I loved when they started using Deebo that way. And I'm sure he did too. I mean, it's perfect for his name. It's perfect for his branding. It's great. And so this team, I think the Niners are so dangerous because the Niners and the Eagles are similar in that they're playing with house money at this point, and those teams are the most dangerous teams in the playoffs because no one's expectations are high for them, and they can go on a run, and it's great. But if they get bounced, whatever, we weren't even expecting you to be here in the first place. So the Niners, and more so the Eagles, I guess, in that respect than the Niners here. But the Niners their style can keep the score under control. It can control the clock. It can keep Dak Prescott and this offense off the field if they are running the ball. And the Cowboys defense, middle of the pack against the run. So we'll see, because Jimmy G, obviously the thumb, you're not banking on Jimmy G to like throw the ball down the field or anything like that. So I do like the fact that the Niners can control things from that standpoint. We'll see if the Niners defense can actually slow down the Cowboys when they're on the field, but they're top 10 in rushing and passing, passing and scoring defense, the Niners are. So they have a lot of really good parts of this team, and just putting it together, I think matching up against each other, the Niners are probably better.
Yeah, I like the example you mentioned in terms of the Eagles and 49ers. They're playing with house money. But I will say this game is way more important for the 49ers franchise than it is for Philly, because 49ers, I feel like they're kind of like, they drafted a guy to move on for Jimmy G. And it's kind of like, you know, we need to figure out what we're doing, because we were just in the Super Bowl, 2 years ago. And so like who are we? What are we doing? And yeah, granted, last year everyone got injured. We're aware of that. And this year there was a lot of uncertainty with quarterback. So I don't know, man. This is a super interesting game. But I just feel like the fact that Dallas's defense is healthy, the pass rush is gonna be nasty. They're gonna be excited, and that they're not gonna win throwing 6 passes. Like it's not going to happen. And Dallas, if anything, they run the ball just as well. So before we make these picks, Nick, what's some insights you got for this game?
You guys were talking before, well, Colleen mostly, about that Raiders Bengals game flip flopping. Will, I don't think there's a game all year that I'm so conflicted on in this one, because I think both of these teams, in my opinion, are the only teams that could go into Green Bay and win in the playoffs because of their running style and how they're built. We'll love that take about the Niners being in the Super Bowl with a lot of the same core pieces, if not even better now, because Elijah Mitchell, Deebo is a legitimate problem, and Nick Bosa coming back. And last year they just had the season from hell, right? You see that every year. A team just loses half their roster to injury by week 6. And you're like, you know what? We got to chalk it up as a loss. The one thing I'm worried about with the Cowboys, we've seen it on 3 different occasions. Coming off a massive blowout win, they have laid massive eggs. It happened when they beat the Falcons earlier in the year. Next week, get throttled by the Chiefs. Then you saw it happen when they beat the Washington football team, primetime,
Denver?
Lose to the Cardinals.
Cardinals, yeah.
And then now what did we see? They beat up on a lot of backups for the Eagles. No one played in that Eagles game, but Dallas went out there because they had some seeding that they could still improve on, which they did. I'm very worried, and I'm pursuing with caution, Will, your favorite term.
Caution. Can we get a pursuer caution graphic, Noah?
We do. I drop this all the time. Need to be careful with these teams coming off monster wins. Now, I know it might be different in the playoffs. I'm leaning slightly towards the Niners, but I am not confident whatsoever in this selection.
So what are you gonna go? You gonna go the spread with Niners or money line?
I think when it's +3 and the line is so tight, I prefer betting them on the money line to win outright as opposed to taking the points.
So you got Niners money line.
Got Niners, yeah.
Oh gosh, Colleen.
I like it. I like it a lot, Nick.
You can't pick Dallas.
I'm going with the Niners. Oh. Yeah, right. I'm not picking Dallas. I've picked Dallas plenty this year, all right? But I'm not going to pick them here. I just feel like their defense has looked better. Dan Quinn's done a fantastic job with them, but the run defense is where they have some holes, and they give up an average of 4.5 yards per carry, and this Niners team can do some damage. That's bad news for them. So I'm going to go with the Niners.
So you like the Niners to win outright, or do you like them keeping it close, the 3 points?
Okay, I'm going to say they keep it close.
Okay.
I'm confident, but not that confident.
Let's go, Dallas. I'm going for it. Let's do it. Dallas, do not mess this up. Do not mess this up. And they're so scared, too. But it's different now. They got Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is the ultimate motivator, man. And I'm going to go with them. I'm going to take Dallas for the money line. How about that? A winning outright. All right, game number 3. Steelers at the Chiefs. The Chiefs minus 13 favorite, and the Steelers are plus 500 underdogs here. 58% of the tickets are coming on the Chiefs, but 61% of the money's coming on the Steelers. I'm not going to get into anything. Nick, get right to it. Why is that? 61% of the money on the Steelers.
Well, home double-digit favorites in wild card rounds since 2003, 5-0 against the spread. So it doesn't make sense why this is happening. I like this spot for the Steelers. This is actually my favorite play of the weekend, the plus 13.
Yeah.
And it's because anytime a team gets absolutely demolished in the regular season and then they play again in the playoffs and the line is double digits, almost by default, I kind of take that team that got blown out, because now it's the playoffs. It'll be a tighter played game. And I think that the Steelers right now, we were talking about San Fran and Philly. I mean, Big Ben came out and said, fellas, just go out there and have fun.
Right.
No one expects us to win. What kind of a soundbite that's going to be if they do pull the upset in Kansas City next week. It'll be on all the talk shows. But I think for this one here, I think the Steelers catching double-digit points is very, very juicy.
Colleen?
Okay. I can't believe the Steelers are in this spot. I can't believe they're a playoff team.
Totally agree.
They completely lucked into this because it was so close that they weren't even going to get in with that potential of a tie between the Raiders and the Chargers. That came so very close. But the Steelers, they're here. This, I guess, is actually Ben Roethlisberger's last game. We're going to have to do the whole thing again with Ben, which fine. But they're not winning this game. The Chiefs, they have so much going for them right now. They've won 9 of their last 10, and they're getting key guys back from injury too. I mean, we're looking at the injuries that they have. Tyreek Hill, Darrell Williams, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They're hoping that Clyde Edwards-Helaire plays in this game. He's been out since the first game against Pittsburgh. And that was really the only injury that Andy Reid singled out in his press conference this week. He said that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is making progress. He should see some of the field. Now, who knows if he's just like, want you guys to prepare for him. But I think that the Chiefs, they're gonna win this game, and I'm not even worried about it.
Yeah, I definitely think Kansas City will win this game, but I don't think they will win, by that much. So I do like the Steelers, the plus 13. You the same, Nick?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get crazy and say that the Steelers are winning this game, but I could see it being a 20-point game. And then, a garbage time touchdown. We've seen Ben do it all the time. That Thursday night football game against Minnesota, they were down, 27-0 at halftime, and they made it a game. So there's just something about Pittsburgh where I think some of their playmakers on defense are going to come around. And I just like that. That's a lot of points, Will, in the playoffs. It's a lot of points.
Yeah, and it depends on, if, like I said, the Steelers receivers catching the ball. And Najee did kind of jack his arm up. So we'll see how his arm is feeling in this game. This show is brought to you by WynnBET. We've wrapped up the NFL regular season. So what are you waiting for? Download the WynnBET app and start winning today. New users can take advantage of WynnBET's bet $1, win $100 offer. If you bet just $1, you can win a free $100 bet on almost any sport. NFL, NBA, NHL, UFC, boxing, and more. And they're also offering a 200% wager matchup up to $1,500. Nick, Coach Nick, is there anything you like on the WynnBET app this week?
Let's do a wild card weekend parlay, Will. Let's take the Bengals -5, Buffalo -4, Niners money line, Steelers plus 13. $100 wins you $1,500. At Nick Day is 10. I'll let you know what the Venmo is.
Wait, what was the last one again?
Steelers plus 13. And I gave out my Venmo, Will, for when they hit, they could send some nice donations.
Absolutely. That's solid. I like that. Very
Cheap
good.
plug.
Lan, appreciate that. For all details on the offers we mentioned earlier, download WynnBET app now and set the odds in your favor. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 or older and present in a state where WynnBET is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right, before we finish up, it's time to make our picks for Underdog of the Week. This is the dog we think has the best shot to win outright against their opponent. I am going to go with the Patriots. It's like the grudge match, and you just don't know. You just don't know. And once the Patriots gets in the playoffs, you just don't know. Like, pursue with caution. So I like the Patriots to win outright as the upset. Colleen?
Okay. So like I said before, you guys are going to have to explain what gambling is to me. I guess you guys are the sharps. Is that how it works?
No,
I'm just learning all of these
Nick's the
things
sharp,
since
not
now we
me.
can talk about it. What's the line for Bucs Eagles?
8.5. The Eagles are getting 8.5 points. They're plus 300, meaning $100. Colleen wins you $300 if the Eagles were to win this game outright.
Let's win $300 together, everybody, because the Eagles are going to win this game outright.
In Tampa?
The chat. Look,
I
know. This is probably the craziest pick.
It is
of
the
week,
craziest
but
pick.
Hear me out. Look at the weather down there in Tampa. There's a 70% chance of rain, 22-mile-an-hour winds. I know that Tom Brady isn't flustered by much, but that really works out well for the Eagles and the way that they run the ball and the fact that they have been running the ball so well, and they might have their full stable of backs back. Resting their starters last week really helped this group. Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, Kenny G, my guy. I just think that this team, they are a team that no one is going to bet on, and that's why you should bet on them. Doing gambling shtick now. I left Coach Nick speechless.
You did left him
that was
speechless.
great.
I thought you'd go with Rams Cardinals. That might be yours, Nick, is it?
No, I'm going with the Niners.
Flat out. That's it. He just left it there. There's nothing else to say because we already talked about that game.
Drop the mic, like it.
All right. Finally, we're going to make our pick for favorite pick of the week. This is a team out of any team playing we think is the biggest lock to cover. Nick, who do you like this week?
Talked about it before. I love Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's a lot of points for me, and especially when they got blown out. So I'm taking Pittsburgh plus 13.
That is a lot of points. I do like the Eagles, right? 8.5. I don't think they will get stomped simply because the weather implications. So I'm gonna go with Philly as my favorite pick of the week. Colleen.
You've convinced me about the Steelers in this because the line is so large in the postseason. But what would be the other options here? Like, who would be, besides the Eagles and the Bucs and besides the Steelers and the Chiefs, what would be another good option?
I mean, the Patriots, Bills.
Walk me through this. Talk me through
Pats,
it
Bills,
here.
because it's +4, and those games have, the way those games are played it's weird. So that is a possibility. But no, you're not wrong because it is so great, in terms of what Nick was saying. The Cowboys Niners game, it could be a blowout. So that one's tough to play with. So Nick, what are your thoughts here to help the Queen Colleen?
So if it wasn't for taking Pittsburgh plus 13, I love the spot that Cincinnati's in, the -5. I think that one is that could be a 28-13 game comfortably for Cincinnati, I feel like.
You know what? I'm staying away from the Raiders Bengals game. So I'm gonna go with Steelers Chiefs for mine.
Very cool.
Steelers.
All right. So let's quickly recap our picks. I like the Bengals, Cowboys, Steelers. My underdog of the week of the Patriots, and my favorite pick of the week of the Eagles. Nick, who are yours?
Bengals, Niners, Steelers. Underdog are the Niners, and my favorite pick is Pittsburgh.
And Queen Colleen, I just made that up. Queen Colleen, she likes the
flows.
Bengals, Niners, Chiefs. Her underdog, the Eagles. She will be there in person, and so we might have to check in periodically with her down at the game.
Yeah, check out my Instagram stories.
And her favorite, she likes the Steelers. So that's it for today's show. Next episode, we will recap how Wild Card Weekend went down and see how our picks turned out. Colleen, do you have anything you want to promote? Where can they find you on social media? This get it done.
At Colleen Wolfe, Twitter and Instagram. Good Morning Football Weekend on Saturdays. It's going to be a great time. You should check it out this week. We'll be in Tampa Bay with Mike Garafolo. Also, you can check out the Split Ends pod as well on the Around the NFL podcast. So basically, if there's a podcast that's on and as football is sort of involved, I might be on it. So go ahead and check all of them out.
That's what's up. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. You can find me at Will Blackmon on all socials. Nick, where can they find you?
Nick Day is 10 on all social media.
Colleen, thank you so much. We really appreciated having you here. Super cool. I love your career, what you're doing. And I love the story. I love that you got booed and here you are.
And here I am. I mean, I'm just like a player. All of us get booed at one point.
No doubt about it.
And you know, unless we're Tom Brady, I don't know. Thanks, guys. Great to see you. Great talking with you.
Awesome. And as always, do not forget to subscribe, throw us a rating and review, and tell your friends. And I will tell you, like I said last time, our 7-year-old daughter felt bad, so she subscribed. See, if she can do it, she's 7. She hit the subscribe button. You can do it. Catch you next time.